Or the Labour Party's conference underway, and of course the party leading in the polls. Indeed, it seems the Conservative Party's big hope of a comeback really would be for Labour under scrutiny, increased scrutiny as to what a Labour government would mean. Labour collapsing during the course of an election campaign, which isn't impossible. And of course, as others have pointed out, when you want to look at a blueprint really for what you could expect from a Labour government led by Keir Starmer, just look to Wales, where of course you've had Mark Drakeford in charge. And certainly Labour, rather than just criticising the government, are actually having to come up with their alternative plan in a bit found out. Because, for instance, the Rwanda plan that Rishi Sunak wants to go ahead with, we see up to 4,000 people could be sent to Rwanda. Ministers privately confident of winning the case to be heard at the Supreme Court. But of course, a huge, absolutely massive ECHR element in all of this that sadly Rishi Sunak and Suella Braverman both ignored during their speeches at the Conservative conference. And you've also got Nigel Farage now, of course, speaking at the Reform UK conference, talking about the need to leave ECHR. In terms of where voters are on this, you can see there very clearly when it comes to leaving the ECHR to implement that policy, there is a big support for it, including from 61% of 2019 Conservative voters. So you are now seeing the Labour Party being asked about their proposal, about their plan on all of this. And as the Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick highlighted today, a Keir Starmer interview with the BBC sort of gave the game away from Labour, that even if this policy worked, Labour would oppose it and scrap it if they got into government. And Jenrick there saying of Labour, they are ideologically opposed to border controls. Their solution is to force British communities to tolerate this flagrant criminality. So this was Keir Starmer on the BBC this morning. Watch this. Let me know what you make of this answer from the Labour leader.
Tomorrow, the Supreme Court begins a hearing into whether the government's plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda is legal. You've made it clear you oppose the policy because you don't think it will work. If the Supreme Court rules it is legal and flights to Rwanda begin to take off and the numbers crossing the channel on small boats decline, i.e., so it's working, would you still reverse it?
Yes.
Why?
I think it's the wrong policy. It's hugely expensive. It's a tiny number of individuals who would go to Rwanda. And the real problem is at source.
So even if everybody can see it's working, the criminal gangs are declining, fewer people are getting in those boats, fewer people are drowning, you would still reverse it, even if it was working?
Putting this to me on the basis that it's working. We've been told by the government time and again that what they're saying, even saying that they've got a Rwanda scheme, will reduce the numbers. That hasn't happened.
If you say you're a pragmatist and you can see it's working, you're telling our audience now you'd still reverse it.
Let me tell you pragmatically what I do about this issue, because nobody wants to see these crossings across the channel. They will only stop if we smash the criminal gangs who are running this vile trade.